Ubisoft should have made another Assassin's Creed game than Wildland. What up, I'm another for the MRpeck324 here, and here's my review of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. For the story is like The Division, except there is an actual plot in the storyline and the main characters talk as well. But for all the bosses in the game, they don't have an actual life bar, including armor. And your character doesn't have it as well, which makes this game too easy to beat but too long to finish. I have put in close to 20 hours on first try in the game and finished 1 out of 2 endings. To get the second ending, you have to get 100% in the game, which took me about more than 40 hours to get. And I gotta say, both endings are horrible. And because there are 44 bosses to beat, all the missions before getting to a boss are repetitive. And what's worse is El Sueño, the main boss, also known as the final boss of this game, is not considered a final boss. He's only a cutscene. Overall, this is just a disappointment. For the gameplay, it has that typical first-person / over-the-shoulder shooting game with an open-world environment. What feels irritating is after fast traveling, the characters spawn in a crouching position. Why can't the characters spawn in a standing idle position? The tutorial was very lazy to show, as they are just a bunch of slideshows and would sometimes make the player look at them again on the main menu instead of showing a simulation training or a simulation video before going to an actual engagement. The level up system is awful to me, where most customization require the player to perform side missions in order to get what the player wants, and the skills that are inside the game are completely useless, as you can just gun blaze through the missions and voila, you're done. What is also irritating is when the player dies or fails the mission, they spawn more than 300 meters away from the objective instead of spawning at least 100 to 150 meters, in my opinion, since there are some missions that require not to be seen by enemies before completion. For the driving mechanics, which is all vehicles, helicopters, and planes, is very loose. The reason is when turning a vehicle, helicopter, or plane, it somehow slips from the road or the sky and would eventually flip over or crash. No lag inputs during gameplay, which gave it less to stress about is what I meant, because of the driving mechanics. There are no stamina meter when the main character is running and eventually gets exhausted for a few seconds. I noticed that because in The Division there was no stamina meter when running, but the character did not have a limit of exhaustion while running, probably because there were no vehicles in The Division, and since there are in Wildlands, there would be a reason why there's a stamina limit. For the AIs, the players from the player squad, they're only useful for the Eagle's Eye, but for everything else they seem to be very dense when following simple commands like regrouping and reviving the player while they are down. When selecting the command wheel to regroup, they seem to be running to the player's location but won't be beside the player. When the player gets shot down, it takes almost 2 minutes without having other commands for the AI to show up and to revive the player. Having them as the player's eagle eye is proven useful like a drone. They will let you know where hidden enemies are coming from, giving the player intelligence of what the mission is about and letting the player know if the coast is clear or not. For the conclusion, the story and the ending is a disappointment. Gameplay level up system is awful. Driving mechanics is sloppy, and AIs are good for catching enemy sights. This game looks to be made purposely for online multiplayer co-op, especially in an open world game. This game is what The Division was meant to be. For my final verdict, it's a 5 out of 10. With the missions being repetitive and the final boss and ending being just awful, this game does not give a strong hope in the open world industry, but still fun to play with other players. Alright, that's all I gotta say. Thank you so much for watching. Peck the like and the subscribe button just to help out in the gaming community and help my channel. This is Peck324 signing out.